Hello and welcome to my wild knitting podcast. This is episode 7, I think, and I've tried to record it several times, let's say, but it never worked out. There were always some problems, but today I hope it will work. So welcome again, and today we'll talk a little bit about one finished object and few whips. I wanted to introduce the concept of sensual knits or sensual knitting. It's been something that I've been exploring kind of mindfully and consciously the past 2 weeks, and it's been very important to explore that. So with sensual knitting, I mean feeling and enjoying with some of my senses, like the sense of touch, how I enjoy the fiber I'm working with, or how the project runs through the needles, or the smell of a fabric that I'm creating or of a yarn that I'm using. So really being more dropping into my body and really being present and checking with myself if I'm enjoying the activity that I'm doing, in this case knitting, but I'm really trying to drop into my body and be like, is it okay, all of this? Shall I do some adjustments? Am I enjoying this particular project? Would I rather do something else? Like asking myself those questions, I think is really a real gift to be able to give that to yourself, if that makes sense. So I wanted to show you a couple of sensual knits that I've been working on. And sensual knit doesn't necessarily need to fit in a specific type of garment. With sensual knitting, I really mean something that we really enjoy. Yeah, I don't know if all of that makes sense, but I forgot to say what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing the Tresta by Jennifer Steingast. This is a beautiful pattern. I think I knitted it twice, and this was my first real colorwork sweater following a pattern. At that time, I didn't really knit almost any other type of sweaters. I knitted one. Yeah, anyway, it was really, I was a real beginner when it comes to sweater garments making, and I really enjoyed to knit on this sweater. I showed it another time on my first episode. If you wanna quickly go and check it, maybe there I talk about it a bit more, but it's beautiful. I knitted it in Portugal and it took me 6 days. The color combination, it wasn't, I just copied from a blog. This lady, this creator, her name is Kat, and she's from Portugal, and the blog is The Olive Trees and the Moon, and she has a Raverly page as well. And she created this beautiful color combination, so I just straight up copied it. I shouldn't take any credit for this color combination, but I think that all of Jennifer Steingast's patterns have the potential to be such stunning patterns. If you use certain type of colors, certain type of, color combinations, it can really create a garment that is really like, wow, you knitted that. And also the yarn that I used is not an even color. All of the colors have this kind of like brownish, blackish speckles. I don't know how to call it. Oh, and it has all of this really nice, also the creases, this nice kind of shape. I really like it. The only thing is that it's peeling quite a lot, so I should give it some care. And the yarn is from a Portuguese small store called Retrosaria Rosa Pomar. and I went to Lisbon and I found the yarn. So let's start to talk about the finished object that I have here. I showed it in the other episode as a whip, as a work in progress project, but now I finished it and I haven't blocked it. This because I like to wear my garments before blocking them, but I think I will never rip this and kind of knit it longer or shorter or whatever, because it has more hair and it's just a pain to rip back more hair. It has this really nice halo, and the color, I really like it. For me, this is a really nice sensual knit. This is a sensual knit. You see, it doesn't need to have any type of form and shape, a specific form and shape. It's just what it kind of communicates to us. And for me, also, when I was knitting it, I just felt a lot of, delight in knitting this garment. And also the pattern is such a comfort knit for me. So I used these two yarns. This is a beautiful yarn, actually. It's a mohair and cotton yarn, and it's 50 grams, 400 meters, sorry. 50 grams and 400 meters. So it's a lot. I used actually one skein of each. I held these two together and I just used one skein of each yarn, and that was enough. I actually had a little bit left from each, so that's incredible that with just one skein I have a beautiful full garment. The other yarn that I paired the mohair with was this Hanna by Borgo de Pazzi, and this is kind of a lyocell yarn, so it's an eucalyptus fiber that is being kind of processed into this fiber. And this one, I found it in a fairly new small online store called Woolly Yarn, I think. It's just a pleasure. I actually bought another one some weeks ago because it's just so beautiful, and I just look at these two together. This will make another beautiful garment, maybe another ranunculus, but I promise I'll stop with knitting ranunculus for a while. But I think that there is no shame in knitting one pattern multiple times. I love when people knit things more than once. I can really see how the pattern changes a bit depending on the yarn that you use, and I think it's just so beautiful. If you are in love with the pattern, why not knitting it many times? So no shame. And beautiful ranunculus by Knit Café Midori, or Midori I Rose, and very, very beautiful yarns. Yes, then we have we're done with the finished objects. I haven't knitted as much this past week and something, almost 2 weeks, and because I was really focused on making wooden buttons for the orders. We received many orders and we're really thankful for that, and I hope you will receive your package as soon as possible. We still need to ship, I think, 4 more orders, and then we'll be set to go for maybe restock more buttons. And I just want to show you quickly, yesterday our neighbor showed us and gave us just some olive wood tree cuttings, so some like big branches that they cut for some reason last year, and in the summer, I think, and the wood was had such beautiful veins. It was harder to work with because it had all of these veins that were going crazy. I created these ones because the veins, I just took a piece and kind of shaped it, and look at the veins, how beautiful. It is just so beautiful. And I created a pair of earrings, and I was thinking they're different from one another because I like the creative aspect of not having two identical things. It's a lot more beautiful, I think, to have different similar shapes. So let me see how this fit. And I was thinking, I found on a local, it's just like a kind of accessory jewelry making store. I don't know if you have that in your country. And there are these, hooks and stuff that you can buy and bend and, use for jewelry making. They are not silver nor gold. They're just, I think, brass. And it's just they're just so beautiful. And I got a few of those hooks, so if I want, maybe I can make some olive tree wood earrings, and you can buy them on Etsy. I'll just take some pictures of them, and I think it's a lot more fun for me to create earrings like this than buttons. I mean, I really like to make buttons, but the shape is the same, You just have to, all of them have a very similar rounded shape with 2 or 4 holes, and it's always the same thing. Whereas earrings, I think I'll make them all different, following different shapes and patterns of the wood, so that would be a little bit more creative as a work. But so if you're interested, I'll probably place a pair of these in the store, and maybe I'll focus on that the next weeks to come, because that's really pretty and exciting for me to do. I need to change the battery. We're set. So yeah, I was saying that I think it would be really nice for me to also sell some of these, because they're just a pleasure to make. And the only thing is that I don't know if I like it so much with this brass hook. Maybe I could find some silver threads, but for now I have this small package of hooks and I can use those, and it's gonna be a bit cheaper also. And I'm sorry if I'm just like, oh, I'm selling this, I'm selling that. I don't want this podcast to become like a selling place, but my hands are making things and I want to share them with you. And I think I'll do also a giveaway where I'll gift a pair of these nice earrings, also to thank you for your support. We have almost 3,000 subscribers, so I'm really happy, and I wanted to gift something as well. Okay, so let's go on with the knittings. But yeah, I just want to say olive tree wood I think is the most magical wood I have ever seen. The way it behaves, the way all of this, it looks, Mika said this looks a little bit like waves. Okay, let's go into the knitting. And this is a whip, and it's a very sensual knit as well for me. It's so nice to knit on this fabric. It's just so nice. And this is a very drapey cardigan that I improvised, so I'm not following any pattern. And I'm using this beautiful wool, mohair and lurex blend. Some of you wrote me that lurex is a mix of aluminium and plastic. It's this kind of glittery thread. I don't really like to knit with plastic threads, but this is just a really tiny percentage, so you don't really feel it so much on your hands, and the rest of the fiber is just so beautiful for me. And the color, I just really like this yarn, and it's knitting so fast, especially because I'm using these larger 7mm needles, these beautiful wooden needles. And I'm working on the body. I don't know if you if you can really see it, but yeah, it's really nice. And it's nice. I'm doing some like raglan increases. I'm knitting it, of course, top down with some raglan increases. And yeah, I just, improvised it. And I really like the fact that it's kind of a bit see-through. It's a really light garment, but it's still a little bit warm, just a little bit. So it's gonna be good for spring, mid-seasons, and also summer. So we got that beautiful whip that I'm really working on during the evenings, and it's just such a mindless knit. I really needed something that I'm not even, something easy and mindless and cozy to knit. And this is also feeling very sensual on my hands. And you can interpret this sensual concept as you wish. Please don't come after me and say, like, that's not really what it means. Because that's my interpretation. Sensuality doesn't need to be connected to sexuality necessarily at all. These are two different concepts, and sensuality is really being into our senses and in every activities that we do. And I remember I participated to a workshop that was really about being more connected to our physical beings. And the woman that was hosting the workshop said, the assignment for this week is that you will do some sensual washing of your dishes. So be really present with the dishes and, feel the texture of the soap and the plates and the sponge, all of that. Digressing. But I thought it was such a nice concept, sensuality needs to be connected to very easy, simple activity. It doesn't necessarily need to be something super out there. I don't know. Anyway, yes, let's talk knitting, shall we? So we are doing a knit along. We have a Discord group. There are beautiful, beautiful people there. We share the different yarn choices and the different patterns that we are knitting with. The knit along is about knitting with a plant-based fiber on a pattern that we like. And we did a cast on Sunday, and I casted on 2 patterns. One made me very upset, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. And this is the Anchor Summer shirt by Petite Knit. And it's just a beautiful pattern. Very nice and easy to follow, at least for me. I have also some of my stitch markers that I made. Aren't they cute? These are small spoons. Yes, and you can find them as well on my Ko-fi page. This garment is just a pleasure for me to knit. I'm knitting it with 2 yarns. One is a cotton, 100% Egyptian cotton. I showed it in my other episode. And one is a linen, 100% linen cone. These are the 2 yarns that I'm holding together, and they are creating this really nice fabric. This is Campolmi Roberto Filati. It's a 100% linen cone, and this is a lace weight fiber, so it's super thin. You can't basically see it. And this is another yarn that I mentioned before. I have it also in white. Look how beautiful this yarn is. I'm not really a fan of cotton yarns. I don't know, I don't really enjoy them too much, but this one, knitting on this is such a nice feeling. And this is a yarn called Giza or Giza by Borgo de Pazzi, an Italian brand. So the Anker Summer Tee or shirt by Petite Knit. Beautiful, beautiful garment. And I finished the yoke, textured yoke, and now I'm doing some raglan increases, and then I'll separate for the sleeves and the body. And yeah. So the next project that I casted on that evening, that we did kind of like a small cast on together on Discord, I casted on this pattern that I bought like 15 minutes earlier. I wasn't sure about buying it because I have on my pattern library, I have many patterns that I would like to knit before, purchasing another one. But I thought it was such a beautiful pattern, so I was really like undecided. Shall I buy, shall I not? And in the end, I decided to invest on it. And this is the leaf top. And this one, I cast it on 4 times and ripped it back 4 times. And it's still not working. So it has this beautiful, I'll put a picture here so you see how it looks. It's a beautiful kind of cardigan top, and it has this nice lace leaflet motif. And the pattern, first of all, the pattern is written, I don't really like the way it's written, I'm sorry to say that, but I have to be honest here, and I think there is a mistake, because it's not possible that I cast it on 4 times and ripped it back 4 times. And I'm gonna rip it back again because this is not working. The first time I was just doing the cast on party, so I was really focusing but not as much, so I thought, okay, it's my mistake, I'm gonna rip it back. But the 4th time, so I'm a little bit disappointed with this pattern, I have to say. If you have ever knitted on this pattern, or you plan to knit on it, and you've bought it and you understand how it, tell me what's happening. Like, I'm very, very open to be wrong. If you knitted on it, please let me know. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Give me tips. I'll be super grateful. Last whip that I'm gonna show you. I have other whips, but I didn't focus on them at all. So in this episode, I'm just gonna show you the whips that I've worked on this past week or weeks. So I made tiny bit of progress on my Y or yes or ye top. I'll put the name on the screen. It's a beautiful top, and I'm using this beautiful yarn, which is a bit falling apart. This is the Hanna by Borgo de Pazzi. I showed you. I knitted the ranunculus with it, and it's such a luxurious yarn. This, if you don't like to knit on plant-based fibers because they are not soft enough, this is the yarn for you if you want to start knitting on plant-based fibers. Especially also if you pair it with a kind of mohair cotton, then you're in heaven. I'm using 3mm circular wooden needles, and it's taking some time because 3mm needles, but I'm not in a rush, so slowly but surely. I really knitted very little from last time, but yeah, that's another whip. Very nice pattern if you're interested in a ribbed top. And yeah, that's it, I think. No, I have another which I just started some days ago, and then I haven't worked on it because I need brain power to knit on it. And this, I bought this beautiful color yarn, and I think it's a German brand. It's called Anchor Style, the brand, and it's German. Coatscraft.com, and it's a cotton-based yarn. Nothing unique, nothing special when it comes to the fiber itself, but I really love this color. I'm just so into this color, and I casted on the golden oak top. A beautiful pattern. I'll put the picture on the screen. I think I'm knitting not a lot, but I'm knitting many whips that have this kind of more autumnal colors, more warm earthy colors, which I'm here for. I did some this, I'm gonna rip it back because I'm not really happy with it, but I did some yarn dyeing. I decided to dye my cotton based yarn. This was the original skein, and this is the small skein I dyed, and it's just this kind of very light yellowish color. And in the beginning, you see, it's really light yellow. I don't know if I like it or not. I don't know. But what I've done is I used the some onion peels and a bit of coffee grounds, and I boiled them, and then I filtered them and put this project and the yarn in it. And it came out this nice, really light, like a beige color, more towards a warm beige. And I was really pleased with it. I was like, I'm gonna color all of my white yarns. But then it has this strong smell of onion, so I used a really mild soap to wash this, and the soap created a reaction on the color, and now it's this yellow, I don't know, it's this yellowish color, very, very light yellow. And so I'm doing some coloring experiments. I think I would like to try to dye this beautiful white yarn, even if I really like it white, but I'm into dyeing right now. So I want to try with avocado stones and peels, because I heard that they create this beautiful light pink, and for some reason I'm into light pinks this spring. And yes, So I think we are done. Yes, we are done with showing you projects and things. Thank you so much for joining me into this, again, chaotic, wild episode. I am very grateful for your support and for people that are commenting and living such a kind environment, and you're creating such a kind environment in here and in general, and I just feel very thankful for that. We should trust that kindness could and will win, and you can interpret that as you wish, but yeah. So take care of yourself, be super kind with yourself. It's really necessary. It's a really radical act. Be kind to yourself and to others, of course. And we're done with today's episode. Remember, if you want, I'll put the buttons out of stock. I think they are out of stock right now because I need a little bit of a break from that, but I'll make more soon. But if you want to support us and buy some cute little earrings, I'm gonna put the link in the description box. And I have also some super tiny stitch markers that I found this kind of jewelry kind of making DIY store, and I saw these nice spoons and I just assembled them with a nice loop and I made some tiny stitch markers, but they are I think you can use them with up to 4.5 millimeters needles. Thank you so very much for supporting us in all different ways, by just watching, by commenting, subscribing, by buying our small little creations. Thank you, and I really hope you will have a beautiful, joyful week. And thank you so much again, and see you next time.
And beyond and beyond and beyond, like you see everything. And it's like in the middle of nowhere, there's no one here. It's just the most beautiful place, but no one knew.